Okay, so to start off the many Clash of Fates decks, or at least a good number of them, 2 or 3, 4 maybe. This is Dende. This is my Dende deck, and I wanted to go ahead and put it all out there instead of building it out like the ones before. And that's kind of because you kind of need to see everything in order to understand it. And when building something like from scratch, from beginning to end, I kind of explained everything from there. But in order to understand this one, you kind of need to see everything. So anyway, this is green yellow Dende boy / Frieza. And the thing about this guy is there's a number of techs that I was really excited to work on and to kind of implement into a deck and to have some fun. And this is probably the most fun I've had with a theme type of deck that I've had anytime in this game. And there's a number of reasons for that. And shout out to Josh. Yes, I know that you've been trying to work on and thinking about a deck for Dende and incorporating both green and yellow and the Frieza stuff, and here it is. And that's kind of where I got the idea for it. But if you didn't know, Dende himself cannot attack, but his flip side can. So little baby boy Dende can't, but Piccolo can. And his activate main is burst 2, just like any other burst decks. You have to place the top 2 of the deck into the drop area. You switch it to rest mode, which is kind of annoying on a waking turn, and I'll explain in a little bit. But you choose 2 Dragon Balls from your deck of life and add it to your hand and then shuffle them. So what happens here, and what you'll figure out when playing this leader, is that pretty quickly on turn 3 or 4, you're going to be about 20 cards in deck. And this is the reason for that is because you burst 2, right? And then you choose 2 Dragon Balls, and then you draw from those 2 Dragon Balls. So in one turn, you're taking away 6 cards from your deck right then and there. So 2 cards go into your hand, 2 more cards go into your hand, and then 2 random cards go into your drop. And this really thins out the deck. And there's a couple of things to kind of consider when building around this leader. So one is that, yes, he's going to be thinning out, but it may or may not be a good thing going against Janemba. Like, Janemba is kind of auto lose with this deck. That's just, you know, how it is. There's not really a way to get around that unless you somehow ramp or they just don't mill you out very quickly. That's all I can really say about that. But the other thing is that even if you are thinning things out, the ratios in which you put in things are less likely to see if you have it all lower ratios. So the way that I see it is that the more that you have one-ofs like Shigesh, or one-ofs like Mechaterra, or one-ofs like Dragon Radar, is less likely that you will be bursting it out or milling it out early into the game. So that's why you kind of want things that are 3 or 4 to be at 3 or 4, or things that you want to see in your drop to be at 3 or 4. So as you burst, you're more likely to do that, and that's just math, I guess, right? Eggman, can you help me out here? Anyway, so the thing is that I kind of put that into consideration when kind of putting the ratios for everything here. That includes Demigra, that includes Frieza, etc., etc. Frieza, you know, he's kind of a one-of anyway. It's not that big of a deal. So knowing that is that his wish is actually not taking a desire, which kind of hurts this deck, but also helps the archetype for himself. This doesn't really take advantage of that, and a lot of other Dende decks are doing that and focusing on the Namekians and the yellow Namekians, green Namekians, or whatever. I don't. I think you should play on the best things you can, and the best things you can is that yellow revival Frieza, in my wholehearted opinion. And the yellow stuff is okay. It's just that the finisher, like the 4-drop Piccolo, is whatever. I've seen 3 or 4 of those Piccolos that lock energy, and I'm like, okay, we're still not doing too much. It's just like whatever about it. But that's just me. I just didn't really like it too much. Anyway, so he does get the benefits of drawing pretty quickly and getting through your deck. He also gets the benefit of getting a Namekian, which the targets here are going to be a Wishmaker Dende, which is going to be useless afterwards, and as well as Nail for that. I don't think there's anybody else. There's only 5 Namekians in which you can kind of get from drop. Most of the time you're not going to be really worried about that, and other times you're going to want that Dende to be in your opening hand anyway. So, you know, his activate main is the same as anybody else. It's just that he draws 1 card and you choose 1 yellow in your desire for free. Basically, he does not he's not able to use any black desires for free, only yellow desires. And the revival for Frieza, the 2-drop cost desire, is definitely a yellow desire that you can play for free. It's just that you have to pay for Child's Wish or World Peace or anything else of that nature. So just keep that in mind when building around him. And that's why you don't see me using World Peace. That's why you don't see me using Child's Wish, because that is energy energy dependent instead of using it for free, which is the hugest thing. Anything for free in this game, and especially these Shenron leaders, is incredible. So yeah, his remove 7 Dragon Balls also is not that great. Also, as remove 7 Dragon Balls, and then you choose all your yellow Namekian yellow leader cards and yellow battle cards, and gains 10k. So originally I had a small green or yellow Namekian engine with Nail and Dende and a couple others, just kind of boost everybody else and all this other stuff. But then I replaced all that with the green in this and a couple more yellow cards to boost up the Frieza stuff, and it worked out. Like, honestly, it worked out, and I'm like, that's good. The only thing that you can really think of in using this is just to boost him up to 25. But really, you're going to be taking hold of this thing, the free yellow desire, and then using the 7 for Demigra. And the reason, and you might be thinking, okay, why won't you use Sorbet instead for Cold Bloodless and just doing that? Well, Sorbet loses in hand advantage a lot of the time, and you can brick a lot of the time. So having your stuff prevented from attacking, like Crush's Crusher and as well as the 2-drop Goku, is super important when going against those type of things as Sorbet. For this, you are an inherent draw 2 at any time and get your Friezas into the drop as soon as possible with burst. And that is huge. That is like so much better, and so much, just in my opinion, subjectively better than actually trying to attack with your smaller boys or whoever and trying to get you the Dragon Balls slower than that. Like, I just don't like that, and it's a lot of restricting type of things there. But overall, this is pretty fun. And let me go ahead and kind of explain a number of things. So the thing for this deck is that turn 1 to 3, you are getting Dragon Balls, you are drawing, and you are recovering either through Togoma or Dragon Radar or whatever, and setting up your energy as well. So depending on the matchup, it depends on which Frieza you use, and as well as most of the time you're going to be using the Deadly Defender Frieza no matter what. So like turn 1, you're going to be doing Dragon Balls. Turn 2, you're going to burst most likely a Frieza out. If not, you're going to be comboing it out afterwards, and then go ahead and use the Revival or Emperor, and then get a Deadly Defender out turn 2. You can either attack with it or you can just chill out. And the thing is about this is that a turn 2 Deadly Defender, there's like almost every single game I've been at 7 or 8 life before the game ended, and that is because of the Deadly Defender. And that could be a little bit concerning, but that's also going to be up to you to decide if you want to take life from the opponent or not. That's going to be dependent if you're going to be wanting to attack, or wanting them to attack a lot and recover. And the only time that you can actually get life with this deck, and this is going to be the opportunity for the deck, is the sacrifice, and that's going to be getting a counter and taking a life instead. So if you want to get some changes to this, that's going to be the main change. But I haven't got I haven't really had an issue with that. So when you search the Dragon Balls, search the life in deck, you need to take a look at your life and make sure you don't have a Demigra or something else that you need in the future for that game. And that's gonna determine if you want to play a turn 2 defender or not. Most of the time, I'm gonna see the Demigra in the deck, and I'm gonna be like, okay, cool, or it's gonna be in my hand, or whatever, because that's very important. You don't really want to do that. And Frieza himself is going to be very important, so that way you can kind of delay everything, play your Nail, play your Shenron, and then get your Demigra and as well as Clanatera out, and then end the game. That's pretty much what the deal is. So that's kind of the first turn 1 and 2 plays, etc, etc. Now, knowing that, let's kind of go through the cards. And Purunga Dragon Ball is the same thing as the Dragon Ball. I only put 4 here because Shenron's layer only there's a limit on 4 instead of 7, so Shenron layer, if you're listening to this, please fix that. Dragon Radar, I put this as a one of because Togoma not only gives you yellow energy, but also combo power, but also gets it from the deck or drop in. The only desire that we really have is revival. The only thing that it would be more important to use this is to draw, but again, you're milling out your hand or your deck a lot. You really don't want to draw too much because you're going to be ending up decking out. The only other time is to see more cards, and that's always a good thing. Shenron is always going to be a 4 energy play because he can do a lot for you. So again, drawing 1, and you're always going to have that sparking 5. There's not ever a time that you're not. And 2 of your energy, so if you want to untap 2, that's cool. You can untap 2 for King of Vegeta surprise attack, and untap 2 for a nail. You can untap 2 for 1 green for special beam cannon, etc, etc. You get the idea. Another thing is that you can play a battle card, a 2 or less from your drop area, and play it. So one of those is going to be nail, one of those is going to be Tagoma. So those are really the 2 targets. A lot of people don't use these things, but in this deck, getting a Tagoma and redoing Revival of the Emperor is just stupid, because this never dies because of Goten and the Revival, and Planetara over and over again with Special Beam Cannon and as well as the Migra is just stupid. I just love it. So yeah, that's always good. And then of course critical. The other thing I was also thinking of is that the Shenron's really needed in this deck because you need some sort of draw power. After a while you kind of gas out. Shenron, as well as a leader effect for draw, helps with that draw and seeing more cards, but also it helps your Deadly Defender, which is always going to be there, to get 5k in crit. So you're swinging with 25,000 critical, and that's always going to be a threat for you or for them. And then the Migra, I'm going to skip to the kind of end as far as the finisher. So the Migra is really good in general, right? So in any Shenron deck is really good. If you mill it out, it's going to be a tough time for you. So I would highly recommend, if you do go ahead and mulligan, try to mulligan for a Demigra. It's going to be a little hard, but when you do search it out and you don't burst it out, make sure to be very careful when trying to search for it and draw it. That's just me. So Demigra, of course, he's an ultimate triple striker, Overwhelm 7, Dark Overwhelm that is for 5. He stays on the field afterwards and he attacks. You reveal their hand and rip 4 battle cards and combo them with the battle area. So the thing of the ideal sort of setup is that you have a Deadly Defender, you have some Gotens in the hand, I'll explain that in a second, a Shenron, a Figure of Majesty, a Special Beam Cannon in hand, and then a Desire, right? So you have them out. So you have this out, you have this out. So you play him to give, well, actually, you know what? You play this for your Desire, for your leader effect for free. You play out Planetara, you see their hand, right? So if they have a Mafuba or they have something or whatever, you can kind of see their hand before anything else. If you want to play something, play a super combo, play one of their big bad boys, whatever, or play super combo. Most likely that's probably going to be the best thing. Then you play the Shenron to draw 1 and then give him 5k in critical. Now he's a double striker, 25,000. Then you play the Demigra. You play the Demigra after, because you won't have the sparking 5 after, or after you play the Demigra. So that's why you do it beforehand. And then after you play that, knowing the knowledge that you have a Special Beam Cannon if you need to, if you want to do it next turn or whatever, or you just swing with Demigra, and then that's pretty much GG. So you're going to be taking a double strike critical, depending on what they have, or a triple strike 40,000. And I've been in the place where I've delayed it where they have 5 health or 5 life, that is, after my swings, and then double strike critical, knowing their hand, they didn't have a counter, they have the combo out of it, and then Demigra kind of just cleans up the rest. Basically, you can swing with Demigra first and then attack, so that way you can rip some cards and super combos and then finish it off with Frieza. But that's usually the ideal thing as far as that goes. So moving on, Special Beam Cannon, the leader card gains 10k, and then chooses 1 card from their hand and is placed in the drop area. Yes, Piccolo is on the backside, so he is in Namekian Shenron here with Dende, and then Dende Nail, I do believe, with Namekian Shenron. So he gets all those traits, and one of those traits here is going to be Piccolo. You can only use it on the black side, so remember that. Really, really good in the interaction I just told you. King of Vegeta surprise attack really shuts down a lot of different decks, like you know, like freaking, I don't know, like Shenron, Gogeta, obviously, if you draw it, if you get played on that, Veggie Shenron, you know, different things to kind of mitigate the causes. Victory Strike, shout out to Joel, is also a target for that as well. So sacrifice, the reason why I play this over time magic is simply because, one, you always need 1 or 2, maybe even 3 counters in your deck, but no matter what, like nowadays you kind of need it. There's no really a way to get around different things without an actual counter, so I needed to squeeze that in. The other thing is that you can take one from your life, but again, you don't have any other way to take it from your life. You can keep your stuff open for King Vegeta, you can keep it up for a special beam cannon or whatever in case they bad ring it, but you still plus a card, etc. And the other thing is that this is a green energy, so in order to keep up with the green of 10 and making sure that I have one open for something like nail, special beam cannon, sacrifice is going to be one of those things, and it's just good to have it. So time magic, you need a sparking 5, and sometimes that just doesn't happen after the Migra, and this is just it's just a free card, literally just a free card from your life after you have a Deadly Defender out. So if you can find room for more, like take out the nail maybe and then add the 2 sacrifices, I wouldn't you know, wouldn't knock you for it. If you switch it for time magic, I think that really depends on your meta, and as well as if it's a best of 3 or not. And then Nail, again, he's an attacker for 15 and draw 1. You're always going to have that bond 2 with Deadly Defender, and he gets to be played for free, so it isn't for Shenron, that is, so it is a net 2 afterwards. So there you go. Wishmaker Dende, he gets a Dragon Ball out of your deck. He's just yellow energy. You can play this in any other deck, so very cool that we have that, as long as you have yellow. And then you get to choose a Namekian in your battle area, so sometimes you can just play this later on and then boost a Nail if you want to remove a 20k threat. So there you go. Vicious Lackey Tagoma, so he is yellow energy, but the other thing is that I always play him after I play a revival, so that way I always have one for the next turn. And you can get it from the deck or drop area for a yellow desire. This is going to be the target for that. And then Shigesh, why not, right? This is very techy, and we have a couple targets. It's going to be the Goten, which, you know, whatever. It's a 15k attacker that boosts combo if you need to, but really it's going to be that Son Goku over here, the Kid Goku over here. So I have 2 for him and 1 for him, because you can still play him after you play Clan of Terror. So you can play him or the revival first, and then play him, put something in rest, and then play him and KO it, as long as it doesn't have barrier. So yes, Shigesh and 2K Goku, still something that people aren't realizing, like, hey, any yellow looter can still use it, and that could be a surprise factor in best of 1s or game 1 games. And then again, he's just a really good barrier blocker. It just really helps with getting into your late game strategy and making sure to get that set up. Of course, Divine Cry Beerus, Sparking 5 combo, can't use it after Demigra, so keep that in mind and use him early. Revival Emperor, so this is yellow Shenron leader. You choose 1 Frieza card and drop area 4 or less and play it, and these are all the targets over here. Did a defender, you already know, it's barrier and they can't attack your leader. Frieza back to hell, so he is a one of, again, because so here's the thing. Activate main, choose 1 from your bonus battle cards in rest mode, and knowing barrier, can't switch to active mode. That is already a really good effect, as long as he stays there. And his activate main, the second one is that if you have 7 or more cards in rest mode, that includes your leader cards, field cards, energy, everything. And your leader cards are yellow Shenron in rest mode, and this card is in rest mode, you deal 1 damage to your opponent. This is very situational, which is why he's in 1 and why everybody else is prioritized. And that's it. I mean, that's it. That you can control the board, making sure that they don't attack and kill the defender if it's something that's pretty important. And you can just snipe a life if the stars align, basically. And then Clan of Terra Frieza, probably one of the best cards. This makes this deck, along with the Demiga, pretty expensive, but pretty worth it, because he is a double striker 20,000, and they reveal their hand. They choose 1 battle card and they play in rest mode. You don't have to choose one, you can just look at their hand, which is powerful enough for 2 energy. That is still busted AF. And the last one is the Mecha Frieza returning in Terra. He is a dual attacker, 15k, unfortunately, but when you do play this card with 2 or with 4, you may place 1 card from your hand, doesn't matter if it's a yellow or not, and then choose 2 cards in rest mode of theirs and KO those cards and gain double strike for the turn. So you can kind of clear board with this card pretty quickly. It just adds to removal with explosive, and it's just really good. And of course, Sun Goten. Again, people are this is a very techie deck, very techie. I don't really want to say the word spicy because it's not like the first time that people are thinking of it, but I'm really proud of this deck in including all these techs and making it work together. But he is a 3 cost 15k, 0 cost 5k. So when you combo this card, if you let a card is being attacked, when your battle cards, which is going to be Deadly Defender, it gains 15k. Basically, so it gains 10k for the combo power for the duration of turn, and then 5k from his own, so that's 15k effectively, which is 30k. It's going to be 30k on your turn, or their turn, that is, defending. So very cool. You can only use this on defense, by the way, but very cool deck. I love this deck. I'm glad to move on to the next one and say like, hey, this is a good one. But let me know what you think. Comments, dislike, like, subscribe if you're new. I might even do a battle series if you're interested in seeing some gameplay with this one. Just let me know in the comments, and join the Discord. Any deck that you have, let me know about it. We can always talk about it. I'm always happy to do that. And yeah, subscribe if you're new. I'll see you in the next one. Later.